And I also have behind the scenes on the Bloodbath in the House of Knives, which is a no-budget giallo a tribute to the Italian giallo films made for nothing in Allentown, Pennsylvania, by a guy who I think works at Walmart. So shooting behind, I got lessons on video. Each movie that I act in, I film behind the scenes, and they're quite interesting. There's usually an interesting lesson that comes out of each one of these exercises.
What would you say to someone, probably a young person, that may be interested in being an intern at Trauma?
The good thing about being an intern at Trauma is that you will, assuming you are serious, you'll get a lot of education and also a lot of responsibility, and you'll have the opportunity to move up the food chain. Also, having it on your resume is not a bad thing. The bad thing is we don't pay the interns. We just don't have the money, and if film school...
Kind of an industry standard, though, for the interns. It's not even just industry, that's across the board, where if someone wants an intern, it's understood that it's no pay what you learn.
Yeah, so in our case, if they can get on, the interns who are there, it's kind of like film school, and the film schools cost USC or NYU now is $50,000-$60,000 a year. So working for free is not so terrible if you're learning something. If you're actually getting to do hands-on work. In order to work on a Trauma movie, you've got to sleep on the floor and eat cheese sandwiches 3 times a day.
Bring your own food.
Yeah, learn how to defecate in a paper bag. Very, very, really, it's all. Every dime we have has to go up on the screen.
Anyone has any other questions?
I have one more, actually. This goes way back in Trauma's history and kind of builds on what you were saying about regretting cutting out some of the more controversial bits of the Toxic Avenger sequels. I've heard rumors and conflicting rumors that you regret producing Blood-Sucking Freaks.
Well, I didn't produce it. You're right. I think that's a nasty. It's of our library. Blood-Sucking Freaks is really in the fullness of time. Blood-Sucking Freaks, while it is a very popular movie, it's so misogynistic. I don't think that if that movie came along today, we were involved in the putting it back when the movie actually had come out in the early 70s, but it came out as a mild version, and it was terrible, and the distributors, I can't remember, they either went out of business or whatever, and we restored the director's cut and put it out again, and it's the only movie I know of, maybe Clockwork Orange, where it's almost 40 years later, and it's more horrifying and more inappropriate today than it was 40 years ago. I mean, Blood-Sucking Freaks is just very bad. It's bad stuff. But, maybe I'm too old. To me, I kind of see it as evil, whereas maybe younger people can kind of just look at it as a goofy 70s misogynistic movie, but to me, the misogyny is just too nasty. And I don't think we would, if that movie came to us today, I would vote not to take it. But I have to admit, Blood-Sucking Freaks is one of our most popular movies. And I mean, I go to a lot of conventions and I see young women buying it, so it's very possible that it's, I may be just taking things. I may be too politically correct, or
Yeah, I actually liked it quite a bit. In addition to Poultrygeist, Toxic Avenger.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if there was anything, looking back in the last couple of decades, if you think of anything you did and went, oh Christ, why did I make that? And well, you already answered that question.
Well, I spent 4 years on a movie called Tales from the Crapper, which we had hired a team to make it, and had to get rid of them, and then we had some Trauma boys and girls try to save the film, and they decided they'd rather just get drunk and take drugs. And so Gabe Friedman, with whom I did Poultrygeist, and Gabe was against it. Gabe just said, throw this thing away. This is an abortion. But I wanted to salvage Tales from the Crapper. And I went out and I got Trey Parker to be in it, and Sam Raimi, and kind of friends to help us try to. James Gunn played a part, and I tried to sort of rebuild the film and make it into something that might be worthy. And what is worthy is the documentary about the making of Tales from the Crapper. If you have a beer, Tales from the Crapper is kind of fun. But it's got all these famous people in it. Ron Jeremy's in it. A bunch of other people. I can't remember. But Trey Parker gets his head squashed. Ron Jeremy's great in it. Trey Parker gets his head squashed. Yeah, he's very good. He's a good guy. And he's very big in the underground film industry. The documentary about Tales from the Crapper, which is on the DVD called Thick Brown Line, that is a cautionary tale. That documentary is it makes the getting the DVD worthwhile. And also the guy who's in the fat hunk in Lost, Jorge Garcia, the star of one of the stars of Lost television series, is the star of or one of the stars of Tales from the Crapper. So there are reasons to see it, but I wasted 4 years on it, as did Gabe Friedman, and I don't think Gabe Friedman ever. He was our editor. I don't think he. I think he's quite chilled by that fact.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions?
Actually, here's a question. Since this will be on SimplyScripts and all that. How does a writer get a script in your hands?
Well, there's a lot of ways. Twitter, easy. I give information on Twitter when I'm looking for scripts. It's at Lloyd Kaufman, LLOYD KAUFMAN. People forget the two L's, or they write LYOD, but it's at Lloyd Kaufman. Or there's a Lloyd Kaufman fan site. Our fans run it, but the address is there, and Troma's fan site usually has an address to send things to. But probably the best thing is to watch my Facebook or Twitter for news of when I've got time and when I'm looking for scripts. Again, we are a small company, so we don't make a lot of movies. But we do read. I read a lot of scripts, and right now most of my energy is going into the production of Father's Day, which I'm not directing, and then developing Toxic Avenger Part 5, The Toxic Twins, which I am directing. So I'm, really not in the what scripts am I doing next mode, but there's certainly plenty of ways to get. Probably the best thing is to follow me on Twitter in terms of what I'm doing. If you're interested in acting, or we take music from a lot of people who are breaking in, and Troma is really a great showcase for new talent, and has been for 40 years. As I mentioned, a lot of today's most famous names have they got to start somewhere, and Troma is a very good place to begin. And the Troma name on your resume is a good thing. Troma.com also, by the way. Troma has like 500,000 people that go every month to the, according to the company that tracks, Troma.com has a huge following. But the ones on my personal sites, I think, are very, very active. I can motivate. It's not a huge group. Lady Gaga's got 600 million. And a penis, but I've got the maybe 25,000 people or 30,000 people who really, really very active and really are extremely rabid about keeping Troma going, and also idealistic about preserving independent art and net neutrality.
Well, I think we have to stop, but we think we went way over time, and I'm not sure how to end it. I think that our producer will just have to edit it somehow so that it will end nicely. I think you were a fantastic guest. I think it was really gracious of you to come on and talk to us, and I want to thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and I apologize. I don't talk very much, and I'm very shy, but I think
it was my fault I am not a good host, because I usually
you're a great host.
Throw questions to people, not
great.
That steers the show.
You're wonderful. This was terrific. I think it's wonderful that we had such an intelligent discussion, and that it wasn't just
know how it, or learn how it works out there in the world, and that it's not just make a good movie and then all of a sudden you find yourself in Hollywood,
Yep, you're absolutely right. And my next book is all about this, called Sell Your Own Damn Movie, and I think it's going to be quite controversial because I think there's a whole new wave of to distribute that could really topple a lot of the royalty and the unfair system.